Walk onto certain dealer lots in America right now, and you'll spot them instantly. Cars that just won't move. They sit for months, gathering dust, as buyers walk right past them to newer, more appealing options. It's not always because they're bad cars, but because the market has changed, from electric vehicle range issues to skyrocketing depreciation and models being discontinued altogether. Today, we're diving into 9 cars that Americans have decided aren't worth buying anymore, and why owning one now could be a costly mistake. Let's begin with a car that promises old-school charm, yet quietly reveals why buyers are walking away. The Chrysler 300. Slide into the Chrysler 300 today, and it still feels undeniably commanding. Wide stance, bold grille, rear-wheel drive presence that turns heads. But beneath that confident exterior lies an aging platform derived from an early 2000s Mercedes E-Class. In a market that's moved on, that means outdated safety systems, lagging infotainment, and no fuel-saving hybrid option. Kelley Blue Book reports the 2023 Chrysler 300 has lost about 37% of its value in just 3 years, averaging nearly $14,000 in depreciation. For the 2022 model, that figure edges up to 39% over 3 years, with only around 61% of its value retained. That puts it squarely in the worst half among all sedans in depreciation terms. According to CarEdge, Chrysler models generally fall near the bottom of the resale value charts across 3, 5, and 7-year periods. Even the best recent year, 2023, would only cost you about 49% of its original new price, with 83% of its life expectancy remaining. But at that point, a lot of the damage is already done. Service and parts start to dry up when a model is discontinued. Stellantis shut production in December 2023, so anything left on dealer lots is already obsolete. That means faster depreciation, higher insurance premiums, and maintenance costs that climb as time goes on. Ownership doesn't get any friendlier either. Edmunds estimates the 5-year true cost to own a 2023 Chrysler 300 to be between $37,000 to over $41,000, depending on trim. That includes depreciation, repairs, insurance, maintenance, taxes, fees, even fuel. Chevrolet Malibu. You remember the Malibu, once a no-brainer for families and fleets alike, reliable, unflashy, and everywhere. But now, it's become a relic, reeking of outdated tech and poor resale outlook. It still runs that same 1.5-liter Turbo 4 and CVT setup, with no hybrid or all-wheel drive options in sight. In a world dialing up crossovers and electrics, the Malibu feels like a blank check you're never going to redeem. The depreciation is brutal. iSeeCars data shows the Malibu can lose nearly 50% of its value in just 5 years, selling for around $12,460 at that point. That's far worse than the average midsize sedan's 41.5% drop. True cost to own doesn't get any prettier. Edmunds puts the 5-year ownership cost between $35,700 and $36,400, depending on trim. That includes $12,800 in depreciation, plus insurance, maintenance, fuel, basically everything. GM shut down Malibu production in November 2024, shifting the Kansas City plant over to the Chevrolet Bolt EV. That makes any Malibu you buy now a dead-end model. And that's a sentence to faster depreciation, rising insurance rate concerns, and fewer parts down the road. Ford Edge. The Ford Edge used to be a safe pick in the mid-size SUV world. Comfortable ride, roomy interior, decent power. But in 2025, it's a different story. Built on a platform that first hit the market in 2015, the Edge is now surrounded by rivals offering hybrid options, advanced driver assist tech, and better fuel economy. And here's the big hit. Ford has officially confirmed US production will end after the 2025 model year to free up plant space for its next generation of EVs. That kind of news doesn't just make headlines, it slashes resale values overnight. Shoppers know they're buying a model with an expiration date, which means steeper depreciation, higher insurance risk, and shrinking aftermarket support in just a few years. Consumer Reports currently scores the Edge's predicted reliability at below average, and J.D. Power ranks it in the bottom half of the mid-size SUV category for overall dependability. Even with incentives, the Edge's lack of a hybrid option and fuel economy averaging just 21 to 23 miles per gallon combined puts it behind competitors like the Toyota Venza 39 miles per gallon hybrid or Hyundai Santa Fe hybrid 34 miles per gallon. And then there's pricing. Fully loaded trims push into the $48,000 range, the same territory where buyers can pick up longer-lasting, more fuel-efficient SUVs with stronger resale. For budget-conscious or retirement-age buyers looking at total cost of ownership, the Edge is starting to look more like a liability than a long-term asset. Toyota Mirai. On paper, the Toyota Mirai is a dream. 400 miles of range, near-silent operation, and an interior that feels closer to a Lexus than a Toyota. It's powered by hydrogen fuel cells, emitting nothing but water vapor, and offers fast refueling times that beat most EV charging sessions. Sounds perfect, right? Here's the reality check. Outside California, hydrogen stations are almost non-existent. And even in California, the Mirai's only real market. The infrastructure is falling apart. The California Energy Commission reports fewer than 60 retail hydrogen stations statewide, many of which are frequently offline due to maintenance or supply shortages. Drivers often wait in line only to discover the pumps are out of fuel. Toyota tried to sweeten the deal with $15,000 worth of free hydrogen credits for new buyers, but it's not enough to offset the stress of planning every trip around a sparse and unreliable fueling network. Consumer Reports has noted that limited fueling access is the Mirai's #1 deal breaker for potential buyers. Then there's resale value. According to IC Cars, hydrogen cars like the Mirai are among the fastest depreciating vehicles in the US, with 3-year value drops of over 60%. That's worse than most electric vehicles and far below traditional hybrids. When a tech is this far ahead of the infrastructure curve, early adopters often pay the price. Volkswagen Arteon. The Volkswagen Arteon is a car that turns heads. Sleek fastback styling, a premium-feeling interior, and the kind of smooth driving manners you expect from a European Grand Tourer. But here's the problem. In today's SUV-dominated market, even good-looking sedans are on life support. Volkswagen has already confirmed that the 2024 model year will be the Arteon's last in the US, and the numbers tell you why. Fewer than 1,300 units sold in 2023, putting it at the bottom of its segment. J.D. Power's 2023 U.S. Vehicle Dependability Study ranks Volkswagen below the industry average, and the Arteon itself gets middling marks for mechanical reliability and in-car electronics, two areas that directly affect ownership satisfaction. Consumer Reports has been even more blunt. In its most recent ratings, the Arteon scored well for comfort and ride quality, but only average for predicted reliability and below average for resale value. Consumer Reports notes that sedans in this price range, starting at about $44,000, face steep depreciation unless they carry a prestige badge. That's the Arteon's uphill battle. It's priced alongside the BMW 3 Series and Audi A4, and most buyers simply choose the badge cachet and dealer network of a true luxury brand. Depreciation hits hard too. IC Cars data shows large European sedans without strong brand recognition can lose 50 to 55% of their value in the first 5 years, and discontinuation accelerates that slide. Add in the risk of shrinking parts availability and higher post-warranty repair costs, and the Arteon starts to look less like a value buy and more like a future liability. Buick Encore. When the Buick Encore debuted in 2013, it was a hit with city commuters and older buyers who appreciated its quiet ride, compact size, and higher driving position. But a decade later, the market has moved on, and the Encore hasn't. The last model year was 2022, yet leftover inventory still sits on dealer lots like yesterday's news. Under the hood, the Encore runs a 1.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, making just 155 horsepower, paired with dated 6-speed automatic transmission. Consumer Reports gave it decent marks for ride comfort and ease of access, but consistently rated it below average in predicted reliability, especially in areas like engine performance and in-car electronics. J.D. Power's 2022 U.S. Vehicle Dependability Study placed Buick mid-pack overall, but the Encore lagged behind newer small SUVs in owner satisfaction. Against competitors like the Honda HR-V, Toyota Corolla Cross, or Hyundai Kona a hybrid. The Encore's outdated infotainment, limited active safety features, and mediocre fuel economy, 25 to 28 miles per gallon, make it hard to justify, even at clearance pricing. The bigger problem? It's been completely outclassed by the Encore GX, Buick's newer, roomier, better-equipped replacement. The GX offers sharper styling, a more modern interior, better tech, and improved performance, all for a similar price. For resale value, that's a killer. iSeeCars data shows discontinued subcompact SUVs like the Encore can lose 50% or more of their value within 5 years. And when a newer sibling outperforms you in every category, depreciation accelerates. Genesis Electrified G80. When Genesis launched the electrified G80, it looked like a perfect recipe for success. 365 horsepower, all-wheel drive, about 282 miles of range, and the kind of interior refinement that can stand toe-to-toe with BMW and Mercedes. But the reality? US buyers barely noticed. Sales plunged from 1,329 units in its debut year to just 397 in 2024, according to industry sales data. J.D. Power's 2024 U.S. Electric Vehicle Experience Ownership Study found that while Genesis owners rated cabin comfort and design highly, the electrified G80 scored only average in overall EV satisfaction, hurt by limited charging infrastructure compatibility and a lack of standout features compared to dedicated EV platforms. Consumer Reports hasn't even tested the model extensively, an indicator of how niche its sales are, but CR has pointed out that low-volume EVs face faster depreciation and reduced long-term support as automakers shift focus, and that shift happened fast. Genesis quietly confirmed the electrified G80 will be discontinued, focusing instead on their more popular GV70 and GV60 electric SUVs. That move instantly tanked resale prospects. iSeeCars data shows discontinued EV sedans often lose over 60% of their value within 3 years, making them some of the worst investments in the current auto market. Subaru Legacy. The Subaru Legacy has long been a dependable choice for buyers who want standard all-wheel drive in a comfortable mid-size sedan. Equipped with Subaru's EyeSight driver assist system, it scores high in safety, IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, and strong marks in crash tests year after year. Consumer Reports consistently praises the Legacy for its ride comfort, visibility, and safety tech, but that praise hasn't stopped its sales slide. The problem isn't the car, it's the market. Subaru's own Outback SUV, built on the same platform and offering nearly identical interior space, has stolen the Legacy's spotlight. Buyers see the Outback's extra ground clearance and rugged styling as a better fit for today's crossover craze. In fact, J.D. Power's 2024 U.S. sales data shows Outback sales outpacing the Legacy by more than 4 to 1. Even in reliability, the Legacy is a mixed bag. Consumer Reports gives recent models above-average predicted reliability, but notes that older model years had transmission issues and infotainment glitches, two factors that can hurt resale value. And resale is already an uphill climb. iSeeCars data ranks the Legacy among the lower third of midsize sedans for value retention, with 5-year depreciation often exceeding 45%. Mazda MX30. When Mazda rolled out the MX30, it was pitched as the brand's bold step into the EV market. But in a 2025 world where mainstream electric vehicles regularly offer 250 to 300 miles of range, the MX30's EPA-rated 100 miles feels more like a step backward. Consumer Reports called that range unacceptable for most buyers outside dense urban areas, noting that it limits both practicality and resale appeal. The charging story isn't much better. While competitors are tapping 150 kilowatt plus DC fast chargers for quick top-ups, the MX30 maxes out at 50 kilowatts, making long-distance travel frustratingly slow. Add in a tiny 35.5 kilowatt-hour battery, no all-wheel drive option, and limited availability. Mazda discontinued it in the US after the 2023 model year, and you've got an EV destined for steep depreciation. iSeeCars data shows low-range electric vehicles can lose over 60% of their value in the first 3 years, one of the worst rates in the segment. J.D. Power's Motor's 2024 EV ownership study highlights another challenge. Buyers expect electric vehicles to combine range, tech, and charging speed in one package. The MX30 delivers Mazda's signature handling and a stylish, minimalist interior, but misses the mark where it matters most for EV shoppers. As a result, it sold fewer than 600 units in the US in 2023, a fraction of what even niche EVs move. For older, value-minded buyers, the MX30 may offer an easy city commute, but it comes with range anxiety, limited charging options, and poor resale prospects from day one. In today's market, doing your homework isn't optional, it's essential. Check Consumer Reports reliability ratings, J.D. Power dependability scores, and real-world depreciation data before making a move, because the best deal isn't the cheapest sticker, it's the car that still makes financial sense 5 years down the road. Before you think about which car you're going to buy next, it's worth taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture, the real costs and hidden traps of car ownership in today's market. Because avoiding a bad model is one thing, but knowing how to navigate the financial side of the auto world can save you thousands of dollars over the years. And that's exactly what I want to dive into next. Depreciation, the hidden cost most buyers ignore. Depreciation is the silent killer of car ownership budgets. It's the difference between what you paid for your car and what it's worth when you go to sell it. And for most people, it's the single largest expense over the life of the vehicle. In the United States, the average new car loses around 40% of its value in the first 5 years, but certain types of vehicles can drop far faster. Luxury sedans, niche electric models, and discontinued vehicles often lose well over 60% of their value in that same period. That means a $50,000 purchase can turn into a $20,000 asset before your financing is even halfway paid off. This is why it's so important to understand a vehicle's historical resale trends before you buy. A Toyota Tacoma might lose just 25% of its value in 5 years, while a Chrysler 300 could drop nearly twice that. Depreciation is also accelerated by poor reliability, high repair costs, and low demand in the used market. If you're looking for a safe bet, the sweet spot for most buyers is a 1 to 3-year-old certified pre-owned vehicle that's already taken the biggest depreciation hit. It's not just about paying less upfront, it's about keeping more of your money when it's time to sell. Insurance premiums. Why the same car can cost you hundreds more a year. Car insurance costs are one of the most underestimated factors in choosing a vehicle. People fall in love with a car, sign the papers, and then get hit with a shockingly high premium. The truth is, 2 cars in the same price range can have wildly different insurance costs, sometimes differing by 40% or more. That's because insurers don't just look at the value of the car. They look at repair costs, parts availability, theft rates, safety ratings, and even how often a model is involved in claims. Take the Tesla Model 3, for example. It's not an exotic car, but it can cost more to insure than a BMW 3 Series because of expensive body repairs and longer wait times for replacement parts. Similarly, vehicles with high theft rates, like certain Dodge Chargers or older Kia and Hyundai models, have seen premiums skyrocket in some states. Poor crash test scores or a lack of modern safety technology can also drive your rate up, especially for older drivers where insurers price in more risk. The smartest move is to get an insurance quote before you commit to buying a vehicle. Narrow your choices to 2 or 3 models, and check the premium for each. That small bit of research can save you hundreds every year and thousands over the life of your ownership. Extended warranties, when they're worth it and when they're not. Extended warranties have a bad reputation because dealerships push them aggressively, and they can be expensive, but they can also be a smart investment in the right situation. Manufacturer-backed warranties tend to be the safest choice because they're honored nationwide and cover more major repairs with fewer exclusions than third-party contracts. The right extended warranty can be a lifesaver if you're driving a vehicle with known high repair costs. Think luxury brands like BMW or Mercedes, or models with expensive transmission systems like CVTs, which can cost over $5,000 to replace. However, extended warranties can also be a waste of money if you're buying a model with proven long-term reliability from Consumer Reports or J.D. Power. In that case, you're essentially paying thousands for coverage you'll probably never use. The other trap to avoid is rolling the cost of the warranty into your car loan. That means you're paying interest on it, which drives up the total cost. If you do opt for a warranty, pay for it outright if you can, and make sure you understand what's covered, and just as importantly, what isn't. The EV ownership reality check. Electric vehicles are marketed as the future, but owning one comes with financial realities that not every buyer considers. It's true that EVs can save you thousands in fuel costs over time and require less maintenance because they don't have oil changes, exhaust systems, or timing belts. But the battery, the most expensive component of an EV, can cost anywhere from $12,000 to $20,000 to replace once it's out of warranty. That's not a bill you want to see in year 7 or 8 of ownership. Charging infrastructure also affects resale value. Slow-charging EVs or those with limited access to fast chargers can lose value quickly as buyers flock to models with better charging speeds. And while the federal EV tax credit can be a nice bonus, not every buyer qualifies. Income caps, vehicle price limits, and final assembly in North America rules mean many people expecting $7,500 in savings end up with nothing. If you're buying an EV, it's crucial to look at the full cost of ownership, including battery warranty terms, charging availability in your area, and potential resale value down the line. Car loan and lease traps. Financing is another area where buyers lose more money than they realize. Right now, the average new car interest rate in the US is around 7%, with the average monthly payment over $750. Long-term loans, those 72 months or longer, might make the payment feel manageable, but they keep you upside down on your loan for years, meaning you owe more than the car is worth. That's a dangerous position if you need to sell or trade in early. Leasing has its own traps. Low monthly payments are tempting, but at the end of the lease, you have nothing to show for the money you've spent. Plus, lease agreements often have strict mileage limits, and exceeding them can cost 25 cents or more per mile. That adds up fast if your driving habits change. If you do lease, make sure you negotiate the buyout price up front. Sometimes buying the car at the end of the lease can be a smart move if the residual value is lower than the market price. The resale value multiplier. Resale value isn't just about what you get back when you sell your car. It's about the total cost of ownership from day one. A vehicle with strong resale can actually allow you to buy newer cars more often without increasing your monthly budget. For example, a Toyota 4Runner that retains 65% of its value after 5 years will cost you dramatically less to own than a luxury sedan that holds only 35%. That's even if the purchase prices are similar up front. One factor many overlook is market timing. Selling in the right season, like unloading a convertible in spring or a 4x4 truck before winter, can boost your selling price by thousands. Regional demand also plays a role. A Subaru Outback might fetch a premium in Colorado, but sell for less in Florida. Sites like Kelley Blue Book, Edmunds, and iSeeCars let you track real-time market trends so you can plan your sales strategically. If you're buying new, always check historical depreciation charts for the model and trim you're considering. That 10 minutes of research can make a $10,000 difference over the life of the car. Maintenance cost planning. The silent budget killer. Maintenance isn't glamorous, but it's unavoidable, and it varies wildly between brands. Consumer Reports and J.D. Power both track average annual repair and maintenance costs, and the differences are staggering. Over 10 years, a Toyota Corolla might cost you around $4,000 in upkeep, while a BMW 5 Series can easily top $4,000 in upkeep, $18,000, not including unexpected breakdowns. This is why a cheap, used luxury car can be a financial trap. You might score a 6-year-old Mercedes E-Class for $25,000, but if you're facing $2,500 per year in repairs, the ownership cost rivals that of a new mid-range SUV. Extended maintenance packages, prepaid service plans, or simply setting aside a maintenance fund can prevent those costs from wrecking your budget. Another tip for older buyers: focus on vehicles with timing chains instead of timing belts. Replacing a belt can run $800 to $1,500, while a chain should last the life of the engine if properly maintained. Safety ratings and lawsuits. The overlooked deal breakers. Safety doesn't just protect lives, it impacts insurance rates, resale value, and sometimes even whether a car stays on the road. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration regularly update crash test ratings, and poor scores can tank a model's desirability. Cars with below-average safety ratings are often harder to insure and can depreciate faster because fleet buyers, rental companies, and cautious families avoid them. Another factor: recalls and lawsuits. If a model is hit with a high-profile recall, especially for safety issues like airbags, brakes, or structural failures, it can take years for resale values to recover, if they ever do. The Chevy Bolt EV's battery recall and the Takata airbag crisis are prime examples. Buyers remember and the market adjusts. Before you commit to a purchase, run the VIN through NHTSA's recall database and check if the model has any pending class action lawsuits. A quick check today could prevent you from inheriting someone else's legal and financial headache. The financing fine print that costs thousands. Financing a car isn't just about the interest rate you see on the paperwork. It's about all the hidden costs buried in the loan structure. Dealers often focus your attention on the monthly payment, knowing that stretching a loan from 60 to 84 months can make almost any price feel affordable. But here's the catch. On a $40,000 car with a 7% interest rate, that difference in term can mean paying over $5,000 more in interest alone. And because depreciation outpaces your loan payoff for most of that time, you'll be upside down, owing more than the car is worth for years. Gap insurance is another factor. If your car is totaled while you're upside down on your loan, gap coverage will pay the difference between your loan balance and the insurance payout. But not all gap policies are created equal. Some have coverage caps or exclude certain fees rolled into the loan. Always check the fine print before signing. And if your lender's policy is overpriced, you can often buy it cheaper through your insurance provider. Leasing comes with its own pitfalls. Many drivers don't realize that wear and tear charges at lease end can run into the thousands, especially if you exceed mileage limits. If you tend to drive more than 12,000 miles a year, leasing could quickly erase any perceived savings. Hidden ownership costs no one talks about. The sticker price is only the beginning. Beyond monthly payments, owners face a series of invisible expenses that can add up faster than expected. Registration fees vary by state. In places like California, annual registration for a newer, high-value vehicle can be over $500, while in others, it's a fraction of that. Property tax on vehicles is another surprise in states like Virginia and North Carolina, where you could be paying hundreds each year based on assessed value. Then, there's the cost of tires. Modern vehicles, especially SUVs and EVs, often require larger, more expensive tires, and performance or low-resistance EV tires can wear out faster, sometimes in under 30,000 miles. A full replacement can easily run $1,000 to $1,500. Fuel type is another consideration. Premium fuel requirements, common in many turbocharged and luxury models, can add $300 to $500 a year compared to regular unleaded. And for EV owners, home charging installation can cost anywhere from $800 to $2,000, an expense that's rarely factored into the savings pitch. Even parking can be a hidden cost, particularly in urban areas where monthly rates can exceed a car payment. The lesson here is simple. Before you buy, take the time to calculate the true cost of ownership, not just the purchase price, so you know exactly what you're committing to over the next 5 to 10 years. In today's auto market, getting the right vehicle is about far more than finding something you like. It's about understanding depreciation trends, insurance realities, warranty options, EV ownership costs, and financing pitfalls. The difference between making smart choices in these areas and ignoring them can easily add up to tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your car. And when you approach car buying with that mindset, you're not just getting a good deal, you're protecting your financial future.